All right, we're back. We are live, and we are only 11 minutes late today, and it's my fault, kind of. I spilt an entire sweet tea on my laptop, so we were using Ryer's laptop.
A sweet tea this size.
Yeah, because mine won't come on. That's the first time I've ever spilled anything on a computer, so don't do that. Pro tip. Why? What's wrong?
I'm going to shift the framing a little bit. It's off center.
I think it's just because Clay's out, or I'm just fat, one or the other.
That way.
Yeah, now that's way off center now. No, it was better where it was. Right? Nope, too far. And a little bit more right there. Yeah, right there. It's the centers you're going to get right there. Those are nice light stands. Why don't we bring the janky ones up?
Because I was trying to be on time, and Ryer was like, bring up the light stands. So I just grabbed the two first ones I saw. So
I didn't say it like that.
Did somebody say, oh, you were looking at that frame? You know what would be cool? So we could figure out a way to, like,
a video board?
video this
What do you mean?
through the live. Or, somehow make the live to where it didn't look like that. I don't know.
Oh, film the...
Yeah, a redneck engineered way of making it nicer.
I think any way we try to do that is going to look worse. Even though that does look pretty bad.
All right. We'll let everybody get here for a few seconds, and then we'll open the podcast. I haven't really thought more about my idea for time management other than when I told y'all about it on Monday. Y'all put any thought into it?
I'm here to learn.
Well, I'm not good at it, so I'm kind of hoping that some people...
I have notes.
Nice. Clay's the only one doing good today.
I didn't say I had a lot of good notes. I just said I had notes.
Well, I got a few notes, not many.
Did you write them on paper?
Yeah,
Do
because
you not have an iPhone?
well,
Are you a peasant?
They're about editing. So as I was editing Brock's thing today, as I was thinking of things that I did, I was just writing them down on my legal pad.
So is that legally binding notes?
Something like that.
Hey, Clay, it says that you're also watching this live video. That's weird. I'm also watching this live video.
Should we request to join the live video that we are watching?
Didn't we try to do that one time, and it was just a...
Cluster, yeah.
We tried to do something like that. It didn't quite work out as planned. Do we have anybody on the YouTube watching?
Oh, I probably should open that, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, Winter Productions and Jeremy Freeman. And Devin.
Sup. The YouTube is the better place to watch, anyhow.
Definitely a lot more lag doing things with your computer.
I know.
It's a whole struggle. The struggle bus.
But
Dude, that thing sounds like it's taken off importing photos into Lightroom.
mine does the same thing. It's like,
And like,
you're
heaven
keeping up
forbid I start like messing with some localized adjustments in Lightroom.
wait till you get like.
I was sitting on the bed in BC doing stuff. I darn near burnt my freaking legs off with having the laptop on it.
And you're importing like 5D Mark IV photos. Wait till you import 50
I've
megapixel
tried.
R5 photos.
I
Or
think I've tried to do that.
Hey, at least yours works.
That's true.
Mine was superior.
So technically, I've got the nicest laptop.
Do you think
out
if
of
I
the two
put it
of
in
us right
rice,
now.
it will fix it?
Might have to wait a couple days. The shipping supply lines are kind of messed up, so it might take a little bit of extra time for the tech support workers from the east to get here with the rice. But
Hunting on the Edge says, and I know your answer is going to be, it says, what do you think about a MacBook? I'm thinking about getting one for editing.
Let's see. Well, I mean, if you plan to travel with it, then yeah, get a MacBook. But if you plan on just editing at home, don't buy a MacBook, buy an iMac. I mean, you need both, really. But if you got to buy one of them to edit on all the time, it just sucks editing on a laptop, unless you have like a nice monitor set up. But I mean, don't buy a PC if that's what you're asking.
Interrupted Steve is on.
Oh, what's up, guys? Several people on the YouTubes and the Instagrams.
See, if they were real players, they would watch it on both, so it would boost our numbers.
I wouldn't even watch it on both. I don't think I could handle that many audio streams in my ears at one time.
Well, you could just mute one.
It's true.
You don't have to pay attention. We don't care if you pay attention. We just want your view number.
I don't know. Maybe we need to go find out whoever runs the 75,000 accounts for what is it? The Hunt the World or whatever it is. The freaking spam accounts that I get commented on every single time I post and every single time we post on Redneck Tech. The stupid bot accounts. We need to figure out how to leverage those.
I believe I'm the only employee that has viewed a live stream from the tree stand.
Yes, you are. Rough Timber Productions, ever consider the Mac Mini? Yes, we have. I've heard really good things about the M1 chip one. And then Winter Productions said, is Ryer still working on the Excel sheet? I got something to email him that we use at my job. I have no idea what it looks like when he opens it because the link's not been connected. Send it on. We'll look at it. Yeah, send it to rednecktech@gmail.com. rednecktechpodcast@gmail.com. I'll put it in the comments. Tech podcast.
It's probably better than what I made, and I'm gonna be like
Mad about it.
I just
Where were you a week ago?
I just wasted all this time coming up with a solution from scratch.
Devin said
here it is.
Devin said he's turned on both to boost numbers. Appreciate it, Devin. He's one of the real ones. All right, let's start this podcast. Why don't we?
The Redneck Tech Podcast is brought to you by Mike'sArchery.com. They're a one-stop shop for virtually everything archery, bow hunting, and for your next outdoor adventure. Mike's Archery has been at the top of the archery game for over 50 years, and they want to give listeners of the Redneck Tech Podcast 10% off their entire online store using the code REDNECK10, all one word. Just put the code in before you check out, and your boys will hook you up. The guys at Mike's have always been good to us, and now they can be good to you too. Visit Mike'sArchery.com and get your gear now.
Right here. Yeah. You want it? Welcome back. Episode 137. I know y'all are talking about me. I have no idea what you're talking about. I was trying to focus.
Transition there.
I like to have a whole conversation while nobody can hear us and just see, like, if, one, anybody cares that they can't hear what we're saying, and two, like, I wonder, like, can anybody try? Are they trying to figure out what we're saying?
I said that was a heck of a transition for the intro, and then Ryer said you could just make it easy and make all one thing, and then I said, but then that doesn't look as cool because you can't, like, DJ it. So.
I have thought about making it all one thing. I have. Just haven't gotten around to it in all my free time. So we've got quite a few guys on the YouTube Live, 42 Pros. Mr. Postwell is here. Devin's here. Winter Productions, Rough Timber. Who else? Who am I missing?
We got 10 people on the Instagrams,
Jeremy
too.
Freeman. Yeah, I mean, so, you know, hopefully with this Wednesday, trying to do this every Wednesday at 3, the best of our ability. That'll open up some, that's such yours open. What? Your YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Sorry.
It's not receiving enough video.
Yeah, I guess your computer just not being able to keep up. And, like, your battery's not keeping up with the charge, so I hope your battery doesn't die halfway through this.
It might.
It's still at 5%, and that's where it was when I plugged it in. Let's just turn down some brightness here. Just give this some more juice. So we're running on fumes. We're running on fumes, guys. I have Ryer's laptop running this live because I spilled a giant sweet tea on mine, if you weren't here in the beginning, and it won't come on now. So, you know, that whole time management thing we're going to talk about. So time management's kind of went down the drain today.
But because of time management, we figured out that your laptop was screwed. and put the entire OBS system together and got streaming within 10 minutes of our intended
and
time.
you added lights to this stream. So
I did.
do you think this stream looks better than past ones, or do you think it looks just as good, just so you can hurt Ryer's feelings?
Just as good.
Just as good.
Mm-mm.
It looks no different.
Clay and I are going to do some work on it. I got an idea
This
for
is
this.
the first I'm hearing of this.
What are you
I've
going to do?
always talked about this.
What are you going to do to that?
LEDs.
Okay.
I think just like one strip of LEDs there, and then we
Behind
can
it?
make it like whatever color we want.
Behind it?
No, just up at the top rim there.
Why just the top rim? Why wouldn't you go all the way around?
Because it's for the
Oh, like a
just to light this one color.
I think.
Or we could get gels for those maybe.
I think you got to stick it on the back side of the wood so it shoots down behind the wood versus up if it's on the top.
I'll let y'all figure that out.
I don't want to have to figure it out. I think it looks great.
So for this podcast, I told the guys on Monday we were going to talk about time management.
M1 Max MacBook Pro. That's what the 42 Pro says.
Yeah, I know that's what I need to get, but
Awesome. Thanks. We'll take 3 of them.
yeah, send us 3. Send them to 81 Crown Mountain Place, Dahlonega, Georgia. Sweet E200.
Don't try any funny business though. We're armed.
Um,
And some of us are dangerous.
I
Some
think,
more
I think that's
some
why
more
Chuck.
than others.
I think that's why Chuck puts his address out there. He just wants somebody to show up
He's
so
just
he can
open.
shoot at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't ever show up to Chuck Palmer's house ever. Be the last house you want to show up to.
I think that's what he probably does at night.
And don't
Because he
believe
doesn't sleep. He probably just sits there looking out his window. Just
Well,
like,
and don't believe
Come
like when
on.
you see him post on social media that he's gone, because he likes to play some shadow games there too. So you don't ever know when he's home. You'll never know when he's gone. He does that on purpose. He does a really good job. 'Cause I've called him a couple times. Man, y'all killed him today. He's like, that was 3 weeks ago. And I was like, God, you're killing me, dude. So yeah, so he'll bank some content in a minute. But anyway, time management is something that I think we've all struggled with at times. I've definitely struggled with it in the past, especially when you get into. Let's first talk about like when we're on the road. I think the time management hurts me the most when I'm in the office. But on the road, it's kind of hard to. Really, the hardest time it is to keep up with how you're managing your time is in the early season, because the days are so long, and you have to film. You know, have to be up really early. You have to have all your stuff ready the night before. Get up, you film all day. You don't get back till late. And then everybody's in the bed and you're dumping footage and editing pictures and all that. So, you know, kind of the way that I've went about this over the years that I can manage my time is I've just kind of created a system for myself of first thing I do when I get to a place is I create a space that's a charging station, dumping station, an area where my camera gear goes. That way things aren't in 15 different places. I think that is extremely important. Is to create an area as soon as you get somewhere that is your area that you can dedicate for your computer, your hard drives, your batteries, your chargers, everything's in that one area, and try and make it in as small of an area as you can. Usually when we're on elk hunts and stuff, we're in really small areas anyway, so we kind of have to make it work. But knowing everything's in one spot and you don't have to go searching or run up and down steps or run around a camp to find things. And then the last thing, and we've talked about this before, all the important things that I don't want to forget, I put in my hat, because I never leave without a hat. So I would feel naked without a hat, so therefore I won't forget my hat, so therefore I won't forget the things that are in the hat. So that's my first little tip, is literally make that. First thing we do is we unpack, we make that area. It takes us 20 or 30 minutes to unpack and to create our dump station and our charging station. That helps me tremendously. Agreed?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the first thing everybody does. And then, I mean, we've kind of got it down to an art now to where we can unpack in 20, 30 minutes and we can pack up and leave in 20 or 30 minutes when the hunt's over. And we have way more stuff than anybody else. But just staying organized, man, and more than you think you should be organized. I'm continually trying to fix my kit and in the way I travel and the way I do things to where they're more and more efficient. Even to the point to where now when I get on the plane, I carry one of those free range American fanny packs, which I don't think they sell them. They gave me one, but Kafaru sells the Rogan and all that stuff too. But I literally have everything that I would need on the plane, like my AirPods, my wallet, passport. Everything is in that, so I can quickly access it. And then everything in my backpack and in my laptop bag just gets put up because I don't need anything in it. Wear that around my waist, and it's quick and efficient. I can get in and out of the aisles. I'm all about efficiency. If I can get in and out as quickly as I can, and I don't ever want my number one mantra, I don't want anyone waiting on me. My number one thing is I don't want anyone waiting on me. So if I can do a couple little things, buy this piece of gear, this piece of, this backpack, this, pouch, this, organizational, cable system or whatever, it makes me that much more efficient and that much more faster unpacking, packing, leaving, getting on and off the plane, etc. Got anything that y'all have noticed, like getting into camp and being on site, that helps you save some time?
Well, I guess if we're gonna go to just saving time, I mean, definitely having like TSA pre-check and clear.
Gosh, yeah.
It hasn't saved my butt yet. Like, I haven't been to the airport so late where if I would have had to go through normal security, I would have had issues. But definitely, like, you can save a good 30 to 45 minutes going through a TSA pre-check or clear line.
Did you know with our credit cards we get a free 5 years of pre-check?
No, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-check, either way, if you travel enough to maybe want to be able to get through security faster, you can get pre-check. It's like, I don't know, $70, $80, and it lasts for 5 years. It's super easy. 80, and then clear is like a couple hundred a year or something like that, which if you travel as much as us, I think it's worth it. If maybe you're just doing trips here and there, maybe it's not so worth it. But
clear's $179 a year, but usually if you can add friends or family for like $50 or $100, and then once it gets close to renewal, they'll usually give you a deal. But the thing is, if you fly out of a major airport, you need both of them. You don't need one or the other because they work together. Like in Atlanta, I was explaining that my parents are actually on a trip right now, and I was explaining to them, so TSA pre-check, so some people don't know what these are. If you fly out of a regional airport or a small airport, this might not make as much sense because they don't have these lines. They'll always have a TSA pre-check line, but not necessarily a clear line. But if you fly out of Atlanta, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Chicago, Kansas City, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Denver,
any
major hub that usually has direct flights to other major hubs, you want TSA pre-check and you want clear. Okay, so TSA pre-check. TSA pre-check is you fill out a form, you go to usually can get to the airport like an hour early and do their little survey.
Staples.
You went to Staples. There's locations you can do them. Doesn't take very long. $80 is good for 5 years. Once you go through the process, it takes like 6 weeks for them to give you your number. So they give you your number, and you input that into like your Delta app, or you give it to them at the counter, and they give you a ticket that says TSA pre-check on it. It's just a little tiny little.
I think technically it's called a known traveler number.
Traveler number. So
KTN.
What it is that allows you, when you go through security, you get your own line, which there's quite a few people in that line now. There used to not be any, but is way better than the general check-in line like in Atlanta. But the other two great things that it lets you do is it lets you leave your laptop in your bag. You don't have to remove it, and it lets you leave your shoes on. Well, those are 2 time savers right there. So worth it right there for one trip of if you're running late, that saves you 5 minutes getting through security. Okay, so that's your TSA pre-check line. And then if you just had clear and you did not have pre-check, there's another line that you can go through, and you go to the front of the line that escorts you in front of everybody else. But if you don't have TSA pre-check, you still got to take your shoes off. You still got to take your laptop out. But in Atlanta, there is a dual line, TSA pre-check and clear. So you go through that line, you skip in front of everybody. You don't have to take your shoes off. You don't have to take your laptop out of your bag. Worth every penny. You just skip in front of everybody. Busiest.
It only takes you as long to get through security as it takes you to walk there.
Pretty much.
And put your bag down.
It's not taking me longer than. I've had TSA pre-check for probably 5 years. TSA pre-check and clear for 5 years, and it's probably taken me the longest it's ever taken me to get through security in Atlanta is like 15 minutes. And that's unheard of. I've stood in, before I had it all, and I had to stand in the back of the line with everybody else, it was, sometimes an hour, hour and a half, 45 minutes. And it's like, well, that's 45 minutes of your life you can't get back. I could be, tracking down that Chick-fil-A biscuit right now instead of
you could be
standing in this line.
You'd be sleeping until 3:45 and instead of 3
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's getting some
a.m. That's
getting
AM.
some extra time to sleep is always important. I mean, that's what I was kind of talking about when we were on those early season hunts. Is, man, sleep is valuable, and anything that can buy you 5 more minutes of sleep is worth it, man. So TSA pre-check and clear, you need them both. It's $250. Seems like a lot of money, but you go through the airport 2 or 3 times with it, you'll never not have it again.
For early season tips and just tips in general, as far as being efficient and saving time in the field, is the first thing I do whenever I get back to camp, unless we've got to film something when we just get back in for the evening, is I go straight to the computer and start dumping stuff. Because dumping can take a long time on a computer. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, we did,
but it can take a long time, and so what I always try to, the first thing I do when I get back to camp, especially on early season hunts, is start dumping all my footage, and then as it's dumping, I'll go start, taking apart my bag, pulling the trash out, getting camera batteries plugged in, everything reset for the next day, shower, eat dinner, whatever it is, but that way I have the computer working while I'm doing other stuff so that I can get all my cards dumped the first time faster, and then I can just switch them all over to duplicate it and go to bed. I don't have to sit there and babysit transfers after I've gotten my gear unpacked, after I've eaten, after I've showered, after that's by the time you do all that, now you got to dump cards. You're going to be sitting around for an hour when you could be sleeping.
So something else that we did this year to decrease the time it takes to dump is we all got solid state drives. And that solid state drive has been very valuable to the dumping process when you talking about footage, because it dumps to that solid state drive 4 or 5 times faster.
Well, mainly because of Lee and Tiff's, because we're filming it in 4K, but you were looking about a card an hour, dumping the 4K to a laptop on just a regular external drive, and I think you can do an entire card in like 15 or 16 minutes.
Yeah.
Would you do the one day? I remember you did 16 gigs in like 22 seconds.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And then so what we're doing is we're dumping everything to that solid state, and once it's dumped to the solid state, we duplicate it to our regular hard drive, which is, definitely a lot slower. But once you get it dumped and it's just backing up, you don't have to babysit that. Once your cards are dumped, you have to babysit it, or you have to babysit it as the cards are dumping. And our stream is going. That's not keeping up. Huh. Well,
that's odd.
We continue on. Yeah, it's and your computer's, it's now to 3%. It's eventually going to lose it.
Well, if we lose it on YouTube, we'll be on Instagram.
Yeah. So sorry, this whole day's falling apart.
It's been an interesting day.
Yeah, because the comments have stopped a long time ago. Like, everybody was commenting like crazy. Now they're gone. So whatever. Anyway, so the next thing we want to talk about with time management is, I'm trying to think of like what's some other things that I do. Like some of them are so subconscious because I've been doing this for so long to save time.
I like to try to get as many things ready to pick up and leave with the night before.
Oh yeah, I do all mine, everything.
And that includes, I try to set out like the clothes I'm going to wear in the morning, put the cards back in the cameras, get all of the, like, I'll put GoPros and my DSLR and all the stuff back in my pack. Any random other gear that I want in my pack, I put it in there. Like if I have a jacket that I'm not sure I'm going to wear, I'll strap it to the back of the pack. But basically minimizing however many things I have to round up before I leave in the morning, so that I don't have to, one, be running around and waking up early to try to make sure I get all of my stuff off chargers and the cards out of the laptops and, the gear packed back in my backpack. And also it just helps if you've got all your stuff in one place, and because this happens, they're like, oh, we're going to leave at this time. And then 15 minutes before the time that they said they're going to leave, everybody starts leaving. Well, okay, your stuff is already ready, so you can just drop whatever you're doing, grab your stuff, and go.
Yeah.
And they're not waiting on you.
Well, and half the time you want to always stay ready because you don't ever know when somebody's going to pick up and, somebody shot one, we're going to go help track, or, somebody shot one late and we got to go help recover it and then do a recovery and then we'll be back late, or, first thing in the morning something happens, or weather. Like, you just always want to have your stuff ready to go, and like it should never take you longer than 5 minutes to get all your stuff and be out the door and be ready to go. Like I said, if your mantra is you never want someone waiting on you, they should never have to wait on you. That's my mantra, is no one should ever have to wait on me, because I don't want to wait on you, whoever you are. I don't want to wait on you, so I don't want you to have to wait on me. It's that golden rule of what do unto others as you have them do unto you. Some people have no respect for other people's time. I have a lot of respect for people's time because no one's ever respected my time. So that's kind of my 2 cents on the whole thing.
I think also to add to just efficiency in the field and on trips, like you said, the more that you can organize all of your stuff, the faster everything is always.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having it consistent too. So all of us have our own camera packages, and none of us pack them the same. But I pack mine the same way every time. And so when it's time to leave, like you said, you've got all your stuff in one place. And then I know, okay, all this stuff needs to fit in here, and I know exactly where it all goes. And so, one, you do it so many times that it becomes subconscious and you don't have to think about it, which saves you a ton of time packing, because you're not like trying to figure out how this goes in here and how I can fit things in differently every time. And also it minimizes the amount of things you leave places, because if okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here, and you're looking around and you're like, where's the thing that's supposed to go here?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not there, that you need to go find it. And I take that strategy all the way to like my big, that big Sitka bag. All my clothes I even put in
individual cubes,
little individual cubes, so that like instead of just having this mass of clothing that I have to either sort or filter through when I need clothes or whatever, I know, okay, I just go open this cube up, I grab a shirt, open this cube up, grab a pair of socks, open this cube up, grab a pair of underwear. Here's all my, I'll have heavy stuff in one, I'll have underlayer, like thermals in another one. And so that way it's just super easy to go and find what it is that you need, grab it, and go. And then when it's time to pack back up, okay, everything goes back into those, and then it's easy.
Yeah. What you got in them notes there, player?
We've literally covered every single thing in our notes.
I thought your notes had to do with editing.
Well, we haven't gotten to that part of my notes yet.
Then we're going to move to that part. So let's talk about getting an efficiency when you're in the office or in the editing suite. So for us, we've talked about it a couple times. Like, it's really hard to transition from being in the field and shooting every day to sitting down and editing. And it's really hard to jump back and forth between the two. Right now, we're kind of in a time where we're kind of trying to create some efficiencies. We've talked about that. We're trying to do some time management. We're trying to figure out what we have left to do, what we got to do, some new projects that we're working on, some things that we want to finish that have been, kind of lagging for a while. But I just catch myself a lot of times. I'll be doing something, and then I'll jump to something else, and I'll jump to something else, and I've spent 3 hours on 3 different things, and I never have completed any of them. And I ask myself all the time, all right, how can I be more efficient to doing this thing or this thing? Like when it comes to editing, I'm pretty dang efficient. When I'm talking about editing, or when I'm talking about time management, I'm talking about having the tasks in front of me and getting those things done specifically. So let's talk about that first. What are some things? I know what we've done recently is Ryer has created an Excel spreadsheet for all of our projects to try and keep us organized. Organization, again, is key. Another thing I've done is I've tried not to pick my phone up to look at anything other than phone call or a text message or an Instagram message. You know, that's obviously we put in our notes time wasters. That's obviously a time waster. But there's always something that also we get a lot of inspiration in things that we see from TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. So there's value in it as well. But I think the biggest thing is setting an end goal for yourself. Like, okay, I need to, like for me personally, like I have a couple proposals to do. Like I've set a hard goal for myself to have those things done by Friday. So hell or high water, I'm doing them on Friday, whether I do them here in the office, whether I take it home with me and do it, which I don't know if I can now that my laptop's fried. But so like I'm setting a deadline for myself. And I think that's important for time management is you have to set a deadline for yourself. Even if it's something that's not pressing, you need to say, okay, I know this isn't pressing, but I'm getting this done by Wednesday. And if you don't, why didn't you get it done? Well, some so-and-so called, or I went and I did this, or I decided to go and do this, or so-and-so wanted to, check this out, or whatever the case may be. Just kind of prioritize the things that you need to do and set a time limit for them. Because I'm always, anytime we get a client that calls us that says they want something done, and I'm like, okay, what's your time frame? And they're like, oh, whenever you get to it. And it's like, no, like give me a date, because we do much better with a deadline. I do much better with a deadline.
And also I think a lot of our clients think that whenever you get to it, and if they call us on a Monday, it'll be, well, we'll get to it on Friday.
Yeah.
When in reality, like, no, player, it could be 2 months.
Or next year.
Yeah.
I would rather you just tell me like, hey, I'd really like to have this thing done by, X date. And it's like, I'll tell you if we can or we can't. And most of the time, 99% of the time we can. Every now and again, we don't meet deadlines. It's rare. But there's usually extenuating circumstances or circumstances we've created ourselves by overcomplicating things. We've been known to do that. But there's importance in setting that deadline for yourself and just being accountable and holding others around you accountable for the time that you're spending. Like how much time, like I know I've talked to Ryer about it before. I've talked to Clay about it. It's like, how long have we been working on this? And I know we've talked about, we've done some projects. I'm like, hey, we can spend some time on this one, or hey, this one should be done in 2 days. This one shouldn't take us any longer than this. And it's important for us to have that communication with one another, because something that I think might take 2 days, and I tell Ryer, hey, this should be done in 2 days, and Ryer sees it differently. He's like, no, I don't think I can get it done in 2 days. Or he's like, no, this is a 1 day deal. I can get this done in a day. But
I have never ever heard Ryer say he could get anything done in a day.
I was about to say I don't remember saying that.
That was a poor example.
But it usually goes the other way.
Yeah.
Usually I'm like, I think he was like, how long do you think it'll take? I don't know. I mean, maybe like 4 days. He's like,
good. I charge for 36 hours. Get it done.
It's like, you got 2 days.
You got 2 days. Yeah, that's usually how it goes. But wasn't gonna throw you under the bus, but you did it to yourself.
And then I take 3 generally.
Yeah,
Nice.
2.5, 3 solid. But you usually are here later than anybody else working on it later.
We'll get to why that is later. That's a whole other. That's when I get to my part of the time management.
So if we want to talk about editing specifically, I really don't know, man. I've just kind of the same thing. I've created a process that I follow to a T.
I think it starts with how you dump it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a point to where you can get so organized that you end up wasting your time clicking through folders to find something when you don't need to be super. I mean, you do need to be organized, obviously, by camera, by card, day, this and that. But I know people that have gone in and, like, say they'll dump. We were talking, someone on our way back from Colorado, they shoot a lot of fishing. They called us, and they literally go in at the end of the day, and they will pull each clip that has something to do with a scene and break the footage that they shot down into a separate folder by scene.
Yeah, and I've seen some people do it, and some people's editing brain works that way. Like, first clips I ever got from Dudley that I didn't shoot, he had named every clip.
Yeah.
And I told him, please, God, don't ever do that again. He's like, well, why? It tells you exactly what happens. I was like, well, I'm going to watch it, and I'll know what happens. I was like, because when you name it, when you go in and name this clip, now it's out of order. Now everything's out of order. I want to see sequentially how things happen.
Yeah, when you go in and rename it does it alphabetically
Oh,
versus by
man,
clip name.
freaking A. I was
Yeah.
first couple edits I did for him was some old footage that he had shot. It was a goat rope, man. It took me 3 times as long to go through and read his little description, watch and be like, well, that was 3 days ago. You know, and it's at the top of the list. You know, it's just a really big pain.
But also, like, if you dump it in a very organized way, when you go in and import all of that, all those folders stay the same. So if you dump, obviously, all your drone into one thing and then all your lapses and things like that, when you import those in, those are all in their own bin inside of Premiere. That way you can go in and easily find things.
Yeah. Yeah, so it starts with how you organize it and how you bring it in, and then letting your preview files get done before you start editing. You know, bring your footage in, and then open another tab that's like, let's do some planning and pre-planning and how's this going to lay out, and start watching through your footage. But we're going to talk about a lot of this in the editing class. So this is how we'll go through, and each one of our processes is different. Like my process is different than Ryer's, is different than Clay's. Like I don't use the thumbnail view of the clips. They do. I just click through the list view. It's how I've always done it. I feel like it's faster. I feel like I can see more, and I kind of reference where I'm at in that list to see how much more footage I have to work with. It's kind of a progress bar for myself. That's how I use it. I do use a list view or the thumbnail view every now and then, but I would rather have a big canvas on a whole screen so I can see what I'm working with so I don't miss things, versus working with a small preview and a small canvas and then a big preview, because I'm working on the canvas and the preview monitor more than I'm working in my project monitor. So but that's preference. You know, we all do that differently, and there's no right way or wrong way to do it. It's just whatever works best for you. So what's your next note there, player? Come on.
I label clips by color. Especially if it's for sure something I haven't shot, I'll label it by color. But like my editing process is I go through and watch every clip and I in and out everything that's usable and throw it on like a selects timeline. And like I'm doing one for Brock right now is mule deer, and all my glassing shots of someone glassing are going to be green. That way, if I get in somewhere in a sequence that I'm editing and I need a glassing shot, I just go to my selects and all I have to do is look at the green clips. Or like when everything of deer will be brown, and then anytime someone
How'd you choose that color?
I don't know, just came upon me one day. Anytime someone shoots, that clip is always orange. The shot clip is always orange.
Yeah, I view it differently than that. I mean, I can see how that would work for you, but the way I color things, I color them by this section is graphics or open. This section's interview. I color my interviews and my, I guess my B-roll.
In Spy Point, all my Spy Point timelines, the interviews are yellow.
Yeah, so I'll color my interviews a color, the opens a color, the graphics or bump in, bump outs are a color, and then the main content's always a color. I definitely don't color individual type of clips. Like I might group them or move them around or make a subfolder of glassing or whatever, but
yeah.
And I also don't do selects. I don't go and I'll watch everything. I'll eventually watch everything, but I edit as I go.
Yeah, I usually only do that for linear hunts, like a Spy Point hunt or a Brock hunt or a Dudley hunt, where, I mean, it happens. You're gonna edit it how it happens anyways. Now something with Lee and Tiff, where a deer that you saw on October 14th is gonna be in the episode where you shoot the deer January 1st. It doesn't really work that way, obviously. But when something's linear, it kind of helps me, like, okay, well, this is day one, and they literally did nothing but glassing, so I need other clips to fill in day one where all they did was sit on their butt and glass, or vice versa. So
yeah, see, I guess and the way I do it too is different, because I do rough things or select things, but the way I do it is I do it by scene. I build a scene, I rough a scene, or I do my selects, I rough it, I get it in the timeline, I clean it up, and then I move to the next one. I just build blocks as I go. And my whole thing is, and Ryer does this differently, and Chance was always the one. We've had Chance on the podcast. He edited so much different than anybody I've ever met, and it would drive me insane. Like when I send somebody a rough cut of something, it's like 85, 90%. It's missing color, and like I've not went through sound perfectly, but you're going to be able to hear what everybody says. The graphics that I have are going to be in there. Everything's going to be framed. I'm going to be cut to beats, everything like that. Like it's 85, 90% there. Chance would we go look at rough cuts, like, and he would have montages. You can't hear a thing anybody's saying. You can't, it was like not even close, and that was his rough. But he just did it. That's how his brain worked. Like, he would show us scenes for us to watch, and like you couldn't hear anything anybody saying. I was like, well, I couldn't hear what he's saying. He's like, you haven't done sound yet. I'm like I would leave at least rough sound in so people could hear it. But that's how he does it.
Yeah, when I send a rough, it's like I've done everything that I can do except for things that involve like moving a clip left and right or deleting a clip. Like, I'm not going to go do color on this thing and then you hate the entire scene and me have to delete it and waste my time on color.
Yeah, I don't do color and
sound
sound until the very end.
Yeah, but I will literally do everything until color and sound, send it off, and once I get the okay, then I color and sound it.
Yeah. So we've been waiting on you, Ryer. It's your turn. Your turn to see why you suck at time management so much.
Why?
All of the yes. You've been really quiet this
ADHD?
podcast. You've been really quiet this podcast. So.
Perfectionism. Dude.
It's a hell of a drug.
And OCD. They really go together well to make a giant cluster F of time management. So what do you want me to talk about here?
your lack of time management.
Like what I do to
what are some things that you've noticed about yourself that you've tried to improve?
Oh, I'm pretty hot. Notice that every day in the mirror.
All right, that's episode 137.
That's really all you need to know about me.
Oh God. No. So what are some things you've noticed in your process of what throws you off the most? What are things that you've done? Because I know you've talked to me about like certain things, like you'll be in a groove of something and something will happen and it'll really throw you off. Like, what are some things that you've tried to manage and mitigate in your processes?
Are we just talking generally or editing specifically?
I don't know. Go for it. Whatever.
So this year I've really decided that I needed to figure out and kind of not systemize, because when I say systemize my life, I start to sound like Steve Jobs or one of those hype beast entrepreneur dudes who are just always like, I always stick to my schedule and I just grind for all day and I only eat the same thing every day and I wear the same thing every
just
like.
assume shoot myself.
That's
42
not.
Pro said you're too busy grooming the beard.
Hey man, you got to keep it looking good. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, can anybody log on to the YouTube and see what it's doing? Because I think it's completely falling off the map. Whoever's on Instagram,
I'll look
just for my sake.
But at the same time, I have started to try to put in some more routines and things to keep myself on track and a little bit more organized and a little bit more efficient. So, like, I know for myself, social media is a giant time waster.
Mm-hmm.
And I spend a lot of time on social media, and like if you added it up at the end of the day, it'd be way more than I need to be on social media. And so the one thing that I've started doing is I don't look at social media until 10 a.m.-ish, 9 or 10 a.m. I say that this morning I looked at it before 10 a.m., so I'm a terrible person.
Liar.
And like on the weekend, sometimes I'm not so good about that because it's like, well, what else I have to do? I'm just like sitting around my house.
You
but
don't have kids.
I know. Yeah, I'm aware. This is by choice and by design. So I purposefully don't get on social media in the morning because what that makes me do is I wake up. I'm not going to sit there on my phone. I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to go make my coffee. I listen to like a news podcast. I cook my breakfast, make my lunch, do all this stuff. And instead of that all taking like an hour and a half because I'm sitting scrolling social media randomly in between all of these steps, I'm just going and doing all these things. And then I get to the office. I've been trying to get here around 9 a.m. If you guys know anything about me, I'm usually, last year I was here at like 11:30 every day. So I've been trying to get here at like 9 a.m.
Good thing we don't have a beer at this time. Ryer wouldn't have done so well in the years past.
I when I had work jobs, I did.
I know.
But if you had a show, like if I have a show up time, I'll show up that time.
I know you.
Kind of like the deadline thing we talked about. You give us a deadline, we'll get it done. You don't give us a deadline.
Yeah.
If you don't,
I know.
And I like wake up at 7:30 and I'm tired. I'm like, I don't really have to be in at any time. Just go to sleep. But part of me trying to be more efficient is giving myself that deadline, being like, hey, I need to be here at 9 a.m. so that I can leave at 5 or 6 and not feel like I didn't do anything that day. Like I felt like I put in the work that I needed to do. And then like once I get here, I've been trying to start doing things work-wise immediately as soon as I get here. So like getting here and sitting on social media, even though maybe it's like the Redneck Tech social media. So it's like, you know, hey, that's work-related, right? But instead of doing that, sitting down and doing like, okay, I was doing a little editing course last week. When I have been trying to figure out all this social media stuff, I get here and start working on those things. Now that we're doing edits, I get here and I'm starting on the edit so that instead of, and if you guys have ADHD, we can talk more about this. I don't want to go into like a whole ton of detail about how ADHD people brains work differently than people without ADHD.
They work?
Yeah.
I thought they were like caught in between gears and grinding gears all the time.
It's they work differently, but definitely not very efficiently. You got to learn how to kind of harness it. So like if you've got ADHD and you struggle with that stuff, I'm happy to talk with you in more detail, but I'm not going to do it a whole ton here. But if I get my brain into a rhythm of productivity early in the day instead of like a rhythm of social media early in the day, I'm more apt to be more productive and work throughout the day because my brain feels rewarded by the work instead of feeling rewarded by doing social media. So that's why I set that limit to stay off of social media until 10 a.m. because that allows me to do all these things and start working and get into that kind of rhythm of work before I start social media. So I've found that as a result, I'm on social media less even throughout the day, even between the hours that I allow myself to be on social media, right? So that's definitely helped me a lot. Obviously, at night, I kind of do the same thing. I try to get off social media at 10, like read and do a couple things, and then go to bed by 11.
Read? What is that?
It's for smart people.
Okay. So I'm not getting read an audiobook. There ain't no reading happening.
I read a book once.
Yeah, haven't you read like one book ever?
I've never read a book start to finish in my life.
I don't know if I'd tell people that, Clay.
I mean, you talk to me, you can't tell.
As an employer, I'd be very... Just want you guys to know, this guy has like 3 college degrees. I have 0. Who's reading at night? Me. Who's not reading at night? Him.
Yeah.
Okay? So college degrees mean nothing, by the way.
Well, that's obvious.
But like trying to, in my life, set up
Set yourself up for success.
A system and a routine that I have to stick to, and one that helps my brain operate efficiently, because as a person with ADHD, that's super important. Like my brain just by default does not operate efficiently. So I have to trick it into doing it.
I can attest to this because there's been many times that you just walk through the office and there's something that Ryer's left there that he literally needed a second ago. I was like, hey, Ryer, didn't you need this thing? He's like, oh, yeah, sorry, my ADHD. You know, he just wanders off.
I'll tell you what kills me more than anything is this damn Garmin watch. Because there's no more like just turning your phone on silent and flipping it over and putting it like on the other side of your desk.
Wait.
Because you still get the notification here. So like there's time.
Even if you put it on Do Not Disturb?
No. That's what I was about to say. That's
put it on
another
Do
part
Not
of my
Disturb?
system.
Well, I just turn the watch off and like put it over there.
You can put it on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So that's another thing that has helped me a lot too, is realizing that phones and social media are literally programmed to tap into your brain's like reward and pleasure centers in a way that like makes them irresistible. So like if you're ever thinking like, why can't I put my phone down? Why do I always have to check every notification? Well, these multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar companies have done all this kind of research to figure out exactly how to make it so that you want to be on their service all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the main things that they use is those notifications and the dings and the colors and stuff like that.
Well, it's just like TikTok right now with the endless scroll.
Yeah.
It's like you feel like if you don't keep scrolling, you're going to miss something. And then that's why right now Reels are doing really good on Instagram, because they're trying to compete with TikTok. So they're essentially opening up, guidelines to where they're pretty much allowing just about anything, because they want people watching Reels spending their time on Instagram and not on TikTok. Same thing.
Yeah, and so what I've done is actually you can set a geofence around a specific location, and with the new iOS update, you can have your phone go into a do not disturb mode, and you can customize what notifications you allow through and stuff like that. But essentially, when I show up to the office, my phone doesn't notify me of Instagram messages or text messages or anything like that. I mean, I'll get them on my computer and stuff like that, but just the fact that I don't have things dinging at me and notifications from 3 different social media accounts and text messages and whatever else, email notifications, all that stuff, helps me stay more focused, because instead of me editing and then I hear this Instagram DM notification, I'm like, oh man, I got to check that. And then you go and check it, and now you're scrolling for 15 minutes. And then of course you do that little loop thing where you go Instagram to TikTok and then to Facebook or whatever it is, and you just cycle through them.
Yeah.
It stops it at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're trying to be productive, when you're trying to get things done, you don't have that hijacked by notifications. And I don't have to physically go do it when I get here at the office.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's big for anything. I think trying to have as many things in your life kind of operate autonomously so that you don't have to personally. Now, maybe you guys are different, but like you said, as a person who leaves stuff all over everywhere, the more things that I can have that kind of operate on their own, that I don't have to remember to turn on and off, or set to do this, or remember to do this, or check this or check that, or change whatever. It allows me to have more brain space to focus on other stuff, and I don't have to think that I need to turn my phone into the do not disturb mode. It just does it.
Yeah.
And I don't even realize
I didn't even know it did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that has helped me a little bit with editing too is I think it's called the Pomodoro method. And basically it's where you set a timer for 25 minutes, and you need to do whatever that task is for 25 minutes. And then at the end of 25 minutes, you take 5 minutes off, do whatever you want, get up, walk around, make coffee, and then sit back down, focus on only that one thing for another 25 minutes, 5 minutes. And then after 2 or 3 of those little cycles, you do a 15-minute break or whatever it is. But like you said, when you are trying to do 3 things in a day and you just are bouncing around all 3 of those things with everything else, and then at the end of the day, you're like, well, I got everything 75% done, but nothing fully done. Well, it helps to take one thing and go, okay, I'm going to work on, and our situations are different. I mean, you don't always have all the control over what it is that you're doing, because people call and people need you to, we might need you to approve something, or a client calls, or a potential client calls, or, you've got a wife and kids and all that stuff. So you don't have as much control over being able to say, okay, I'm only doing this for 25 minutes. But the more you can do only one thing at a time, the more you can get into this flow state and hopefully accomplish that thing. Yeah. And then you move on to the next one.
But mentally, it kills me too, because I know Nicole's a couple times, I've talked to her about this, and she'll say, did you get a lot done today? And then I'll think back and be like, yeah, I really didn't accomplish, nothing got done. And then mentally, that's hard for me, because it's well, I worked all day on things, but I don't feel like I got anything done. Mm-hmm. And then there'll be some days and it feels like I accomplished the world. I'll get 5 small tasks that are done, that are off my plate. This invoice paid, this fixed, this email, that proposal and all those things are like done and delivered, it's like your day's that much better. Like today, just like nothing has gotten like finalized, and then I torched my computer. Not the best day.
Not a bad day.
Something that I like with everything being like Google having its entire suite of apps that it has, and Microsoft having its suite of apps, and then you've got Trello and this and that and whatever. I am a big like physical to-do list guy.
Yeah.
Like anytime you walk in my office, like I have a piece of paper with a to-do list. That way, when something is done, I can physically cross it off and look at it and know that it's done.
I have both. I have a digital and a
Yeah.
paper one usually. I'm the same way. There's nothing better than crossing something off the list.
No.
So just a little yeah. And I want to say hey to Bo Riggs and Alex Byers. They're watching.
42 Pros said that he ordered a MacBook back in December, and it's not supposed to be here till March with the M1 chip. 3 months behind on M1 chips.
Oh, I remembered what I wanted to say.
ADHD, there you go.
So, you know how you're saying some days you get a lot done, some days you don't get a lot done.
Most days I don't get anything
on the
done.
days you don't get a lot done, you feel like crap because you're like, oh, I didn't get a lot done. I've seen a lot of places like that, obviously with anything, like we accept that you can't have your best performance every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go to the gym, you know you're not going to PR every. Don't go to the gym with him. He doesn't warm up. One rep maxes every day.
That is so not true. That is not true.
All right.
I'm sorry, your 1 rep max is my warm up.
All right, we're talking
I'm
about
a cyclist.
talking about time management. We just took a hard right turn off into.
Well, he started with some bull crap over there. But like if you go to the gym, you accept to yourself, not every day is gonna be the best workout, right? But for some reason with creativity and productivity, you'll have this day where you're like super creative, you're super productive, you get all the things done, you're super stoked with whatever it is you came up with, and you set that's like the best creative, productive day you can have. And then you come in and have a day where maybe you don't get that, but you get like 75%. But because that was like the best day ever, and you've got all these like people everywhere talking like you got to maximize your productivity and efficiency and creativity all the time, you feel like you've got to be at that 1 rep max level all the time when it's unrealistic. You have an ebb and flow of productivity and creativity, and you got to like be okay with some days it's not your 1 rep max day productivity wise or creativity wise.
Oh, there's been many.
And some days you have it, and some days, and you just have to like in your brain be okay with it.
There's been many days I've came in, sat down, tried to do something, and just immediately knew like it ain't happening today.
Today is not that day.
I would literally be better off leaving this office and doing something else.
Hey, you're not that guy.
Yeah, not you're not that guy, bro. Like literally turn on the computer and like be like, oh God, not today, computer. And it's usually those office days. I don't know. I've had a couple of hunt days. I was just like kind of over this.
I've had a couple of. It's always like everything. You just have a day. It's just a day. You know, everybody knows like when you come home and somebody's like, "Oh, how was your day?" It was a day.
It was one of those days.
It was a day.
Yeah.
Like for whatever reason, you just don't. You get home and you're like, I'm really glad nothing happened today on this hunt because I did a very bad job. Like I feel like I did a very bad job today because you think like, I missed this shot. You start looking at stuff like, where is my focus? What are you doing? What's going on?
I did that mule deer
You forgot
hunt.
to do this. You did. What is happening over here?
I did that mule deer hunt with Brock last year in August in Utah, and I think day 5 of 6, I didn't turn the camera on till like 2:30 in the afternoon because I was like, I've been doing this for 4 days. I cannot find another way to do this. We've been doing it for 4 days.
I know. Well, we got there. We got there. At the last.
I've been there.
When we were both. So after Greg had killed, and I got in the truck with them to do the last. What was it? What did we do? 4 or 5 days.
4 more days.
Like, it would be 11 a.m. and we'd both look at each other like, "You film anything today?" And I'd be like, No, I'd be like, okay, good, me either. I just want to make sure that like I wasn't the only one who didn't think.
Well,
that
you
was
can
nothing.
only film the back of somebody's head for so long. Yeah,
But-
mule deer hunts are rough, man.
Yeah, it's
Spot and stalk mule deer that you're not doing much stalking. The spotting part sucks.
it's not really even like it's not really a spot and stalk. It's more like a drive
And glass.
and also drive and then also more drive and then maybe we stop for 10 minutes and then you drive more
Yeah.
and then maybe you stalk.
That's when, like, putting some type of gimbal rig on the hood of a truck would be awesome. Where you can just, like, remote control it from your phone, or, like, a little remote control to where you could actually get, like, people facing you type things.
Yeah, I have thought about buying one of those suction cup rigs that you can suction cup to the hood of the car and put polarizers on and get some cool driving stuff. I've looked
They
into
make
those.
a UV filter that gets rid of the glare going through glass. Like, that's its sole purpose.
Mm-hmm.
What
else we got?
Last note on general productivity. And I'm going to say this word, and I'm going to look straight at Clay when I say this word, because I know how much Clay loves these. Templates. You guys see that? Did you guys see the subtle disgust in his face? I did.
But they have a place. They
Yes,
definitely
they
do.
They
So when Clay was talking earlier about how when he imports a project into Premiere Pro, everything goes in this certain place. When you import stuff onto the Finder, everything goes in a certain place. When I'm going through, and if it's something that you do regularly, and you can templatize it, it will save you time and it will help you be more efficient and more organized.
Yeah.
Because like when I go to make a Premiere Pro project for whatever it is, I don't have to sit there for 10, 15 minutes creating my bin structure for organization, creating sequences, doing all these things. I go and I find the template that I've already got made for my Finder organization for the project and obviously the Premiere Pro project itself. I copy it, I put it where it needs to go, I rename it, I open it, I bring my footage in, and now I'm ready to go. Like I literally already have a timeline open in the project. I don't even have to go create a timeline. And so I probably saved myself 10 minutes doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that with all kinds of stuff.
Well, and my thing is 10 minutes doesn't sound like a long time, but you do that over 15 episodes or 30 editing projects out a year, it's 300 minutes. That stuff adds up. And
especially with tasks you do all the time. You can do it with editing photos. Like, I wouldn't say that I'm a proponent of fully using presets on my Lightroom pictures, but my pictures that go into Lightroom. But I have like a base preset that I use that gets me a look that I know pretty consistently will get me close to where I want to be with all my pictures. And instead of having to go slide all those sliders for every single picture, I get pretty close, and maybe I just have to tweak a couple things.
I never really did that, and then I saw that you did it, and then I realized that I do lens corrections.
Yeah,
and
you do a lot of the same
things.
things.
And like 30% clarity and 5 or 6% saturation on almost every photo. And I was like, all right, screw it. So I created one, and now I never have to touch those ever again.
Yeah, and those few seconds that you might save per
Right.
picture over a library of 500 pictures.
Yeah, I mean, you never take
3
photos and import them in Lightroom. I mean, we always have 300 or 400 photos at a time that we took. So
yeah, no, I gotta get better at not taking so many pictures when I take pictures.
the
That'll save me some time.
only way I found to do that is to take it off burst mode.
Yeah.
Unless I need it.
I
'Cause you
just
sit
like
there-
hearing that shutter pop, man.
I put mine on silent so you never hear it. So,
yeah, that would be
but-
bad for me.
I want to get a I need a better laptop, and I also want to get a mirrorless camera. And it's like,
Why?
why? Because I want to take more pictures in the field, and the DSLR goes every time. Plus I had to film on it, and I was like, if I ever have to do this again, I will regret not getting a camera that's more suited to filming and taking pictures. Plus, I want to flex on people with that R5. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, so you want an R5?
Yeah, no, I'm not
you
getting
could
a
get
Sony.
You could get an R3.
I'm getting a Sony.
You could get an R3, which is the 1DX equivalent to the mirrorless. Has the built-in grip and everything.
I know. I could also get the
The way you said that with such disdain is so funny.
Or a Hasselblad.
What?
Paying for that yourself, player.
The Hasselblad?
Yeah.
They're only $40K.
Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
a used Hasselblad film camera is $1,000 on eBay.
Oh, like film, like actual film.
Yeah.
Huh.
What did you think I was talking about?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
Yeah. Mort said, note to self, don't take Ryer mule deer hunting. He gets bored.
More than you'll ever know, buddy.
I don't think I think Mort and I talked about it. I think he likes mule deer hunting, but I think if he had a preference, he would do elk.
Well, who wouldn't? That's what I
I
don't
might
understand.
be wrong. I might be misremembering that, Mort.
That's
so
what I
if I
understand.
am,
All these
I
guys are
apologize.
like freaking Chris Trujillo. He loves mule deer, but
That's
he's like elk are like eh.
That's how Kenny in Utah is. That
Just shoot
is
me,
that,
dude.
that
Like
Lee hunts with.
I want to kill a good mule deer. Don't get me wrong, but
Brock. I think
Give
Brock
me
likes mule deer better than elk.
yeah, because Brock likes to find a really big one and shoot it from a million miles away.
And he can most likely do it sitting there.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Which I
give me
can't
elk,
look.
man.
At a certain point in the season, you can't hate that grind.
No.
Like
You mean
there's
September 1st? I hate that grind.
I used to be that hear somebody's doing a rifle hunt, and I like turn my nose up to them like, ugh, rifle hunt. Then I'm like, rifle hunt after 3 bow hunts, I'm okay with that. How far is he? 500. Hold on, let me pull focus. Go for
Think
it.
about it. Think about it. All the stories that you have from hunting, like from Dudley, how many of those would you not have if you hunted with
Dude,
a rifle?
we would have killed everything, literally everything. Like we would never not have killed something on the first or second day. Yeah, that's what Dudley told me. He's like, one of these days when I do retire,
Just gonna go
I'm
with the
putting the
rifle.
bow up. He's like, I'm just gonna go kill.
He's gonna
the biggest
have
stuff.
Evan help him
I
build a
think
rifle.
that's-
He's just gonna.
I think that's his retirement video.
Oh, dude, that is.
Whenever
oh,
Dudley is like, look, I'm done with this.
Yeah,
My shoulders can't take it.
I'm not making content for y'all anymore.
yeah.
I'm living my own life. I'm not making up bow content. We just need to do like Dudley's Revenge.
Yeah.
And just
Oh, me and
film
him
the
have talked.
fall
We've talked
tour
about it.
of him just absolutely murking everything with a gun.
We've talked about it. In 14 hours of antelope blind, we talked about it. I'm like, so when you hang this up, what are you gonna do? He's like, I'm gonna go rifle hunting everything. He said, I'm killing everything with a gun. He said, do you know how many animals I have not gotten to kill because I was using a bow? He said, so many. He said, never again. He said, I'm just one of these days. One of these days when I decide to hang it up, that's what I'm doing. You got to respect the guy. I think that's everything. Let's end the podcast and we'll answer some questions.
42
You
Pros
good?
did say I wanted to put this in here because
Okay.
this is a technical note. He said, be careful with the silent shutter when near poor lighting. Might catch some banding due to the electronic shutter with a mirrorless camera.
Correct.
Interesting.
For if you're on fluorescence,
Oh.
like in an old basketball gym that's got fluorescence.
Okay. Sorry.
No, that was all I had.
Mort says, and Mort is a guide in Utah that I think, how many times have we hunted with Mort?
I don't know. I've hunted with Mort 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
I've hunted with him
I've had
twice.
twice.
So we've been
Yeah.
with Mort a bunch.
He says, hunt deer on my own every day. Guide elk hunt, hands down every deer. People get bored deer hunting.
Yeah,
Facts.
well, duh. But that place in Utah that we hunt's pretty special. So it's kind of, I guess you can't get bored there. We're just so spoiled. We're just ruined with, the places that we get to go. And it's just because of the camera. But, like, to do just a run-of-the-mill mule deer hunt,
It's like, yeah, I don't know if I'll ever go do a mule deer hunt on my own.
Oh yeah, Clay.
After old Nebraska
for
fiasco.
You guys that need a good place to go in Nebraska, talk to Clay. He's got a good spot lined up.
Yeah.
They scouted it, knows where all the bucks are.
No, I know where they're all not. 5 days and we didn't see a single deer with antlers.
By seeing no bucks implies you do know where all the bucks are.
It's where we didn't
It's
go.
not there.
He can tell you where not to go. All
Didn't
right.
you guys see a doe?
Oh, we saw does all over the place.
Oh.
but
We're
Albert
going
is-
in the podcast, and we're going to stay around for a few questions. All right, guys. Peace. Well, it says you can record it,
That's what we need.
but I don't know where it goes.
I'm sure we can find
Let
it.
me just hit start recording and see what it does. We'll record our question and answer part, and then we'll see where it goes.